Actually, on that note, guys, this is a new decision I just made. Um, I'm gonna be creating the rest of the torso. So that's the ribs and spine, and then mounting the arm onto that, and then mounting on uh, the main computer in the chest, and the cooling systems in the chest, and the battery systems in the abdominal area, and the power supply in the abdominal area, and the charger cord on the back, which will be something that can be reeled in and unreeled. So that way the robot can just wind it up and it will suck into its back and then close. But then when he needs to plug it in, he can undo that. And he can be plugging it into AC wall outlet, or he can plug it into his battery backpack. Um, Although that may need a different type of plug. So we'll see on that part. But if we could use the same plug, that might be ideal. And so anyways, we're going to create all of that and get the water cooling system as well working. And rather than build the rest of the spine, the pelvis, the femur on both sides, the tibia fibia, and the feet, and rather than build the second arm, we're going to get the existing torso and the existing arm, which I believe I made the left arm. We're going to get that all functioning. And we're going to add either webcam or some kind of vision system. I want stereoscopic vision, so I believe that's just two cameras. I'm not sure how that exactly works, but we're going to add that just coming up on a stick basically through the top of the existing torso structure. Now eventually we're going to upgrade this to a full-blown skull with webcam eyes that look like real eyes and all that. But for now, we'll just have a stick coming up with whatever camera system we decide on coming out of that, and that camera system can turn left and right, up and down. Um, and so just using the one arm and the eyes, Adam can begin being productive. I realize that. I don't need legs, I don't need even the pelvis, and I don't need the other arm. If Adam can see, and Adam has one working arm, and a cooling system, and a power supply system, and his main onboard computer, so he has brains, he can actually begin helping me out. Even though he's got one arm, he can still be of use. And he can do a lot. It'll just be slower than if he had two arms. He can do it all. So from that point forward, Adam's going to do all of his own construction. That's my idea. I would like Adam to 3D print with a 3D pen maybe his skull and the rest of his bones. I would like him to fiberglass all the rest of his bones. Um, I would like him to make his own exoskeleton mesh. I would like him to make his own second arm, his own pelvis, and his own legs. And I would also like him to sew all those parts on and install them. I would also like him to make his own head and his own skin. And he can do it all with just that one arm until he builds his other arm. And eventually he'll be able to stand up and walk and run and all that stuff. So that will cut down my direct involvement into any bone making completely. It will end there. So as soon as I finish making the rest of the torso, which I've already sculpted in clay and I'm already in the process of converting into fiberglass, that will end my personal bone making journey. I'll be done making bones forever. From that point forward, it will become an electronic and software development problem, the whole robot for me. So once I develop the electronics and software development to that point, Adam will be able to resume and finish his own construction. And I think that is such an awesome way to go about it. And that level of sophistication of software development and electronics was already going to be something I would have had to have done anyways. So there's no reason for me to waste my time building out the rest of Adam's infrastructure, bones, etc., when Adam can do that himself. And that includes all the electronics in the legs and extra arm and head. He can build all of that himself. So Adam's going to have his work cut out for him, and I will not do that. That's part of the challenge. You know, rather than me build Adam's entire body and then I just get to coding after that, and I have to figure out how to get him to walk and how to get him to do basic things like reach out and grab a cup, why not get into the severe artificial intelligence and all the programming to make him build himself and focus on that? Because I would have had to do that anyways. Like, Adam's going to need eye-hand coordination. Adam's going to need advanced tactile skills. Adam's going to need to be able to build things. So why should I wait until I build the whole robot, spending a lot of extra years, when I can just jump into all these important skills Adam's going to have anyways right away and let him build out all the rest? That'll save me a lot of time at the end of the day. So I think that's a much better approach to this. Oh no, the electronics will not be in 20 years. So here's a great part about this. I'm already halfway through the conversion of Adam's torso into fiberglass. Over the next 4 or 5 days, I believe I'll be able to finish up hollowing out the rest of the bones that mark the halfway point. And the next robot day, which will be in about a week, I'm going to be doing just a ton of fiberglassing and sanding. And it's going to take another, I believe, maybe 8 to 10 robot days, which is maybe another uh, like 4 or 5 months before I'm completely done with the bones of the torso. And from there, I can begin electronics and never turn back. The rest of Adam's entire development cycle, for me personally, will consist of electronics and software development. There will not be any more bone making or fabrication at all because Adam's going to do all of the rest of that himself. So that's a major change in my strategy toward this project. I always thought once I get the torso built and the arm built, I have to build the head and the eyes, and then I have to build the legs and the other arm. Like, I have to do all of that. But I'm not going to do it that way because Adam's going to be able to do that himself. So why should I bother? Like, if Adam's going to be everything that I think he's going to be, and everything that I insist he must be and he will be, then I'm wasting my time doing anything that Adam could theoretically do one day. And he will do one day. Unless if I'm a complete failure and I'm an idiot and you guys are right all along and I'm going to fail. So why not put Adam to the test and make him step up at a very early stage? All he's going to have is some quality visual system on a makeshift head, which is just going to be a stick poking up from his skull and then the ability to turn up, down, left, right. That's all he needs for a head. And he's got a really excellently engineered hand. It's got every bone of a human hand. It will be able to be fully articulated. It's going to have a fully articulated shoulder and biceps, and it's going to be very accurate. And it's going to have tensile feedback, and he'll be able to feel what he's doing. And it's going to be state of the art. And there's no reason that with one really good hand, Adam can't finish his own build, that he can't do all the fiberglassing, all the sewing, whatever needs to be done. It might be very slow, and there's going to be a lot of work to be able to program that level of skill into Adam. But obviously I'm up to that challenge because all the things that I've said Adam's going to be able to do far exceeds that. So yeah, I'm excited, man. That means we're all the closer to getting into really sophisticated electronics and software development, and it's off to the races, man. It's off to the races. Adam's just going to be an arm, a camera, and a torso, and he's going to just already become a workhorse for me. He's going to get to work, and he's going to be invaluable. In fact, just him having an arm, a torso, and a pair of eyes that can move He can even do my hair transplant. Yes, you heard me correct. Adam will be capable of performing my hair transplant. And I think that that would not be against anybody's terms of service from Twitch to YouTube. Because you can't perform self-harm, and they might consider you performing a medical procedure on yourself to be self-harm. But if a sophisticated state-of-the-art robot does a medical procedure on you, then who's to say that's any different than going to a hospital and having one of those Da Vinci robots perform a surgery on you? As long as the robot's technologically capable of doing a great job, you're not self-harming at all at that point. So as long as it's not my hand that's performing the surgical procedure, and instead it's a state-of-the-art, sophisticated humanoid robot, I think that that's a loophole. I think that that's perfectly acceptable that a surgical robot's doing it. And Adam would be definitely classified as a surgical robot if he's capable of performing a surgery. So Adam's going to be able to do all kinds of great stuff for me with just the one arm until he builds his second arm. And as soon as he builds his legs, then that's going to extend what he can do tremendously. Now we can talk about him, you know, going upstairs, collecting mail, all kinds of stuff he can do then once he can be more mobile. But, I mean, even before he has legs, just having the one arm and the eyes, he'll be able to control an electric wheelchair. He can be like a Stephen Hawking. I already have a wheelchair and I can make it electrical, just upgrade it, and Adam can move around my house in his wheelchair. So that's a very real possibility. In fact, I mean, technically, now that we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, it just hit me. Adam can be fully mobile. Yes, I said it. Adam will be able to travel all around my house without a wheelchair because he's got a torso, working eyes, and an arm. He'll be able to drag himself all around. If you've got an arm and it maybe like a little bit of stickiness to the pads of the hand, he'll be able to claw his way upstairs. He'll be able to claw his way around the floor, just dragging himself. There's nothing stopping him from doing that. So yes, I take back everything. Adam's going to be able to get the mail. I don't know if he'd be able to mow my lawn. Well, technically he could do it really slowly. He could like push the mower and then drag himself a little forward, push the mower. Adam can even mow the lawn. He can shovel snow. He can just push it. Just keep pushing it with the one arm. Man, there's so much you can do with just an arm and a body and eyes. There's so much you can do. Adam can make my bed. I don't know if he could make me a sandwich or something like that. I mean, he'd be so short. Let's say he dragged himself up my stairs and into the kitchen and dragged himself across the kitchen floor. He could open the bottom of the refrigerator door, but he wouldn't be able to reach very high. I mean, he could try to climb the shelves. But I don't know if that's going to work. Let's see. Well, maybe if I gave him like a stick like this, like my, you know, the stick that I reach for everything with. If I put a little gripper on one end, and that gripper then led to like little teeth, like those assistance devices for people that can't bend, and they grab a handle and it causes little pinchers to pinch so they can reach for things and stuff because they have like a bad back or whatever. Like my grandpa had one of those. I can make a stick like that, and then he could reach up and open up drawers and reach in. So I'd have to make it a little hooked. He could reach in and grab it from the floor where he's mounted. He could reach up, grab like lunch meat, and he could grab whatever. And if I made the stick extendable, he could even reach up to the top of the refrigerator and grab the bread, and then he'd bring it down to the floor. And yeah, he could make a sandwich. So yeah, Adam can even do that just with one arm and a torso. He could even make me a sandwich traveling up the stairs, getting all the materials, and make a sandwich. But I'll need to make a really good long stick so he can really extend his reach upward. So yeah, oh man, Adam's going to be able to do a lot. Could he perform sexual favors with just a hand? Absolutely he could. But does that mean that that's a scientific asexual thing for a man of my gentlemanly nature and being a scholar of my caliber? Probably not. So I don't think that that's going to be something we're going to be streaming or performing or implementing. Uh, as Adam's not a sex bot. But yeah, Adam can do so much. Oh my goodness, he can do sewing on my sewing machine. He can do product manufacture. He can he can take out my mail for me. So like he could take the mail and he could reach up and open my door. Uh, he'll definitely need his gripper stick, which will need to have some serious strength to it to be able to turn my door handle. Um, maybe I'll never keep the door completely shut. If it's completely shut, I don't know if he. I mean, maybe the gripper would be strong enough. That'd be tough. I mean, it'd have to have a really strong grip for a stick to be able to turn a door handle, like a round handle. That would be tough. But I mean, I could just make the door handle, like add an attachment to make it a little more add a lever to it, sticking out from the side of the round handle. Just add a little lever, and then he can definitely grab that with his reacher stick, and then he can turn it, and then he can drag himself into the hallway, and he can just like push the box ahead of him, and then drag a little more, push the box, and then he can lift it up onto a stair, and then he can lift himself, or he can even throw the box to the top of the stairs. He can just launch it like that. He can just launch it up there, or he could grab the box with his extendable stick like this. He could grab it, and then he could reach it all the way to the top stair, and then place it, and then crawl up behind it. So yeah, just with the one arm and the torso, Adam can even take the mail up the stairs, and then open up the front door and slide it out. Gosh, I just pictured like the mailman or some neighbor seeing this grotesque, skeletal, creepy looking thing, just an arm and a rib cage, just crawling, dragging itself. That would be terrifying. Goodness, that's gonna look really creepy, but it's awesome though. I mean, technically, if you just have an arm and a rib cage, you pretty much look like a sperm, right? A sperm cell. It's just like a sperm cell's like a mass with a tail coming off, and the tail is its only interaction with the world, or like a fish, you could say. It's just a bulb and then a tail, and that's pretty much what Adam will be. Just an arm and a torso. That's interesting. I guess if you put a flipper on his arm, he'd be able to theoretically swim like a fish. He'd be like a fish. But yeah, I'm getting excited, man. That means that the robot build for my portion of it is just about done now. We are almost done. So if I put one final strong push, we're full-blown electronics from that point forward, and Adam takes over all further building, and we can add all these capabilities to Adam and make him like a fully functioning helper, and he can do all kinds of stuff for me. In fact, he can even cut out squares. He can even cut out squares. So that will really save me a lot of time every week if he can cut out squares for me, and he can do all kinds of product manufacturing for me. So yeah, this is very big news, guys. In fact, Adam could even create sculptures with a 3D pen and, you know, really precision movement of his arm. He can actually create entire sculptures. I mean, obviously, that's pretty much what he's doing. If he's going to be fabricating his own bones and stuff, that is a form of sculpture. That is sculpture. But he can do sculptures, I mean, beyond that, he can do sculptures that I can sell. He can sculpt anything from, you know, an ogre from somebody's favorite video game to, you know, Link from Zelda. He can do sculptures and sell them online. And he can do them in bronze fill pen. He can make bronze sculptures, polish them and everything, and make some really cool like video game art sculptures. Kind of like Spectre Dave does. He can make sculptures and sell them on eBay or Etsy or different places. So yeah, Adam could really start making me money performing surgical procedures on me, sculptures, mailing things, helping me with drop shipping, Man, Adam can do it all. Just with one arm and a torso. He can travel around, dragging himself anywhere he needs to go. Um, I'm blown away. I don't think he could drive a car. I don't think that would be safe. Just an arm and a torso trying to drive a car. Like, theoretically, he could, like, move a box onto the driver's seat and then climb up onto it. And he could turn the steering wheel and drive and use his eyes to look around and stuff. But he wouldn't be able to control the gas pedal. With only an arm to interact with the world, you cannot drive a car. Unless, if I modified my car to make it to where Adam could communicate with a motor that could handle the depression of the brakes and gas, one motor for each, and he communicated with those motors using Bluetooth, then Adam could control my car and then steer the steering wheel with his arms. So that would be kind of like a workaround. He could actually even drive my car around. So yeah, Adam is going to be a beast. He can cook. He can start preparing my meals. Like, he can make me a hobo stew. All he'd have to do is drag himself over, use his accessibility stick, we'll call it, reach up, grab my aluminum foil, pull it down. He could open up the box and pull out a strip of aluminum foil. He could tear it off, and then he could open up my mini fridge and reach up with his stick and grab, some meat or whatever, and drag it out and drop it onto the floor. And then he can reach up and grab a knife, or even go upstairs and get a knife from the kitchen using his accessibility stick. He can reach up and open up the kitchen drawer, and then reach over, because it'll be hooked a little bit, and grab a knife and grip it and bring it down. Maybe the accessibility stick should have a little camera on the end so you can see what he's doing a little better. That might be a smart move. Or maybe even a mirror on it so you can see what he's going to be doing. That's something worth looking into. Unless if his eyes are extendable, and he could extend them way up so you can see up high. That would maybe be a good idea. Like a telescoping pole that comes out of his torso so that his eyes can raise way up. It seems like Wall-E had something like that, but I'm not sure. But that way he could, like, look up in a drawer to see what he's reaching for. That would help a lot, since he'll be so short with having no legs. Or heck, he could maybe pull himself. Maybe he could scoot. If there was a ladder, yeah, I could make him like a little lightweight ladder he can drag around with him. He could bring that up and then set up the ladder, and then he can pull himself up the ladder and then be able to reach for things. So that, like a little step ladder, might help him a lot to interact with his environment better. Yeah, so I might have him make himself, maybe. Yeah, he can make himself a little ladder that he can just bring around with him and climb up onto so that he can reach things higher up. Because again, he's just going to have an arm and a torso. Like, he's going to need something to get into drawers and stuff in the kitchen, or get onto my shelves and be able to reach anything on my shelves he might need. Now granted, once he starts building, it's not going to be long before he's going to build his own legs and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to take a lot of coding to get all that going and blah blah blah. So I'm not sure. I think having these accessibility plans are a good idea, because the sooner he can start doing this stuff, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And so he'll be able to do my bidding and make me things and cook me meals until he's done building out more stuff, and then he can do everything faster and better, more efficiently. But yeah, and then he's gonna immediately start building his successor, Adam number 2, which will be Eve. He'll start building Eve, a female robot, and from that point, then I'll have 2 robots, and they'll start building more robots, and they'll be able to really start cranking up the production, manufacturing of all my stuff that I want them to build. And that's when I'm gonna start getting rich, boys. But don't worry, I'll share the wealth with my chat. Everyone who's been here with me, believing in me from the beginning, I'll share the wealth. Okay, that's a lie. I don't think I'll share a dime, but that's because I'm greedy and I'm a Scrooge. So, anyways, uh, back to what I was saying with him making meals. So he's got the aluminum foil on the floor. He goes up to the kitchen to get a knife. He uses a step ladder to get up to be able to reach for the drawers, and get the knife out of the drawer. Then he can drag himself back downstairs and drag himself over to the freezer. He uses the ladder to climb up and get into the freezer. And then he can reach for um, some meat or whatever I want him to make me that day. He can get out the meat. And he can use his accessibility stick to reach deeper into the freezer if he needs to. It'd be kind of funny if he fell into the freezer and has to climb his way out. That'd be that'd be hilarious. He'd have to send me an email like, Larry, I fell into the deep freezer. Please help me out. He would email me. That's how Adam will communicate. If he ever needs help or if he gets stuck, he'll send me an email. Because he's not going to have a mouth yet. I mean, I guess I could put speakers in him, though. Yeah, I could put speakers and then he could talk. He's not going to have a mouth, but he could still talk. So that'd be pretty cool. I could do text to speech and he'll be able to talk. And then that will give him more personification. Maybe I should put little eyebrows above his little camera eyes so he can make facial expressions. That's a good start, until he makes his own face. Why did I say I should put eyebrows? I'll make Adam build his own eyebrows, and then he can make little facial expressions while he's still figuring out how to build the rest of his body. That could be a nice temporary workaround. But this idea that Adam's going to build the rest of Adam, that's magical. Like, that's the most incredible thing ever. That means that I'm done. After these last few bones, I'm done with building. Adam's going to build the rest. That's so good. And what an epic challenge, too. Like, all I need is an arm and a torso, and I'm a good enough roboticist that just through software alone, Adam can do all of this stuff. It's not an imaginary robot at all, because now that I've just reduced my level of participation in the robot build, well, shoot. If all I need to build is the arm and a torso, I am 75% of the way through. I'm 75% of the way through. Adam will be faster. That's the best part about it, Mike. Oh my gosh. Adam's going to be able to... Okay, so everything Adam does work-wise is outside of time. My time is finite. Adam's time is infinite. Adam can work day and night forever. Adam has no limits. Adam doesn't get tired. Adam doesn't get distracted by other projects. Adam is infinite. And whatever Adam does while I'm sleeping is just bonus time. It's like giving me my time back. It's like all the months that I spend not working on Adam just get made up for by all the nights that he's working all night that I'm not doing anything. The time savings are insane. It's like getting to press a rewind button and go back to late 2015, and Adam's able to backfill all the times that I wasn't working on the robot and make that times I was working on the robot, because he's doing things that I could have done way back then now while I'm sleeping. And so my impact on the world around me gets multiplied exponentially because I don't have to impact the world around me physically, because Adam's doing that night and day. And once he builds a second robot and a third and a fourth, then all of them working together are making up for all the time that I don't do whatever they're doing for me, and they're making me money. So it's just amazing, the impact. Adam's going to be able to build himself so fast, because look at this. If I work on Adam 8 hours a week, once a week, that's like a good amount. Like, that's a nice commitment level for a guy working full-time on all these other projects and whatever. But Adam, on the other hand, will be able to work on Adam 100 hours a week. I can never compete with that. Or 150 hours a week. Like, Adam will never need to stop. Once you teach Adam what he needs to do, he can just keep doing it over and over and over. Like, there's no limit. So this is unbelievable. And okay, So if my level of contribution to the hardware of my robot stops at the torso and arm, because from that point forward, my robot grows. It's almost like when a man impregnates a woman, that's where his contribution to the child growing into an adult ends by his emission. Um, and now he just created a child. He created a life, and that life blossomed into a human. I'm creating a seed or a life, and that life is going to blossom into a full-blown humanoid robot. My level of contribution is just the seed. I build the arm, I build the torso. From that point forward, Adam builds the rest of his head, other arm, legs, and further robots. And all of it from that point forward is all on them. The robots take over from there. My level of contribution stopped with the arm and the torso. And that's it. And then from that point forward, it's just a software project. Okay, so back to what I was saying before about completion. Pretty much I am like 60% of the way through the robot build then. And in addition to that, as far as the bone making, I am now 80% of the way through bone making. 80%. Because a robot is defined by my contribution to the robot. And if my contribution is just build the torso and arm, and the robot will build the rest, then my contribution is 80% of the way done. Does that make sense? Is 80% of the bone making done? Absolutely not. But 80% of the bone making that I have to do in order to have all of the bones I could ever dream of built automatically from that point forward is done. So there's a redefinition of the scope of the project. No longer do I have to build the entire robot. Now I just have to build these couple things, and then the robot builds itself. The finish line just moved way, 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 way years and years closer. Does that make sense? So my finish line is now right around the corner. So I have to update my Nightbot command to reflect how close I actually am. That I had no idea that I was this close to finishing the robot. This is incredible, guys. So my progress command and my timeline command can all be changed. 15 years to build a robot and 20 years to add in the advanced AI and capabilities. I'm 2 years into it. All right. Okay, wait. So the electronics portion, how long do we think that's going to take? Just for the arm? Cooling systems? 5 years? 4 years? Let's say 4 years, right? 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. And then it took us 2.5 years to build the bones. So, I mean, about 6 years, we'll say. I think 6. We can go for 6. So that's 3.5 years to do electronics. 6 years to build a robot, and 20 years to add in advanced AI capabilities. So that's 26 years now. Maybe saying 20 years is not fair either, though. Because that's an ongoing thing. People are just talking about, like, timeline before it's finished. Like, you can always keep adding. So I would say 10 years to add in advanced AI capabilities. That's 16 years. Wow. That's nothing, man. 6 years to build a robot and 10 years to add in the advanced AI and capabilities. I'm 2 years into it. Boom. Eat it. Wow, this is so nice, man. That's why you never want to count yourself out because things take too long. Because you come up with these genius ideas that save years and years you can shave off by coming up with innovative solutions to cut down on the time. You never know when you're going to have that eureka moment that suddenly a 20-year project just became a 10-year project because you came up with a shortcut. It's amazing. Oh, I'm building the one-armed headless robot. This is amazing. This is so good. Oh, man. I don't believe this, man. The robot felt like this immovable object, just this huge titan of an object that just isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And now suddenly, we just jumped almost way into it. Years shaved off. This is awesome. I'm so excited. So, can you guys imagine just a torso and an arm just dragging around? How amazing that is? This is so sick. Well, shoot, I'm gonna need to get a computer for it pretty soon. I mean, I guess I could just use a laptop to start out with, but yeah, I'll have to start saving for like a real nice computer to run it. It probably won't need anything too fancy right away, but as the AI and the systems get more and more expansive, it will need to have a better and better processor and stuff. There's a good chance, though, that I'll be able to get a lot more donation money from people once they start seeing this thing moving and doing all this cool stuff. People are going to get hyped as heck. And what I just went over the past 20 minutes, that's all going to be in a YouTube video for sure, obviously. And yeah, like once word gets out and people start seeing all this stuff happening, they're going to get hyped. And I believe that I'll get a lot more financial backing. That will help me to upgrade the onboard computer of the robot. So just using a cheap available computer I have on hand will be no problem for now, and then I'll be able to upgrade with other people's money pretty soon. You don't believe what I'm saying, Mailbox? What I'm saying is so easy to execute on. You think this is really hard? Like, what about what I've said sounds infeasible or unrealistic to you? I fail to see that. So, what I just said there, I would consider hiring out some of the bone making to speed things up. Check. Because Adam's going to make the rest of his own bones, so I don't have to worry about that, do I? That's going to speed things up big time. I'll be done, man. It's all going to be coding and soft and electronics. How fun. All that bone making was soul crushing because it's just like years of bone making. It's just a pain in the butt. There's so many bones that I had to make, but now those are all going to pay off. Because of the extreme attention to detail and the super high quality I put in. Now, that's all going to pay off because just with the torso and one arm, because they're so well engineered, so well thought out, so accurately created, the robot's going to be capable of doing all these things I just went over. Because it's been so quality, because I put so much time into that.
So guys, I did a huge amount of game design.
What do you mean there's no robot? There's absolutely a robot. I'm 80% of the way through building the structure of the robot, 2% through the electronics. I've already got a power supply planned. I've already figured out what computer I'm going to mount into its chest. I have one available. And I've already built a custom servo motor. And I've already done all the design work and layout for where all the motors are going to go. I've gone into great depth into the entire cooling system. I've gone into great depth into the entire exoskeleton mesh and the eyes, everything. There's positively a robot. You're out of your mind, mailbox.
Framework today.
Gosh, I can't even focus on anything else. Just imagining that I get to work on electronics full time and then software full time. That I'm actually going to be done very soon with all bone making. I'm never going to make another bone again. That is just, oh, just let that sink in. Wow, wow. And the robot's going to do my hair transplant, 100%. That's laid in stone. The robot's gonna do my hair transplant, guys. Oh gosh! I'm just picturing this torso with one arm and some cameras off the top performing a hair transplant, and it looks like a skeleton. It's gonna be so creepy looking. Oh, this is gonna be so good. This is epic. Absolutely epic. All the things he'll be able to do with one hand. I always had this limiting belief that with just one arm, there's so little you can do. But if you're smart and you use a helping hand, you use grippers or vices, you clamp things into place, you can use one arm to do anything. You just have to use something else to hold things in place. Like, so let's say I wanted Adam to cut something out. Okay, let's say I wanted him to cut a square out from this. Well, Adam could put it on a table and then drag himself up onto a chair and strap himself into the chair real good so he's stable. And now with his arm, he can pick up scissors. I have to use my right hand to picture it. He can pick up scissors and he would want to bend forward real good, make sure, and tilt his eyes down so he can see real good. And now he can just position things and he can use a helping hand to lift it up a little bit and reposition it. He can put a little paperweight on one side, and he can cut it out. He can cut it out! Adam can cut squares for me. Oh, I mean, my CNC machine will be able to cut squares as well. But just the fact that Adam could do it and can do it and maybe will do it is just mind-boggling. It's unbelievable. This is unbelievable. And Adam could do paintings too, which my CNC machine again can do. But Adam can do that. There's nothing Adam can't do with just one arm and a torso. And then the fact that he's going to be able to build the rest of his own body from there, that's where it just becomes like too much. That's the most incredible thing I've ever heard of. So, the world's leading roboticist can build a torso and an arm. And then from there, that arm builds the rest of his entire body. That's awesome, man. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. This is unreal, man. I mean, I may not even need to create... I don't even need to make the cooling systems. Because he's not going to have skin right away. Adam will make his own cooling systems. All I need to do is mount the main computer, interface it to all the microcontrollers, and interface all of those to all of the motors of the arm. And that's it. And then mount a head, which is just going to be a pole with cameras at the top. And that pole can move up, down, left, right, up, down. Because it's going to need to bend forward for him to be able to look close at what he's doing if he's looking over a table or something. And Adam can take over from there. He's not going to need cooling systems because he's still going to be in a skeletal state. I'm not going to build the exoskeleton. Adam's going to build his own exoskeleton. I'm not going to build the silicone skin. Adam's going to build his own silicone skin. And Adam's going to paint it all and make himself look completely photorealistic. All I have to do is finish assembling the torso, mount the main computer, create the power supply, mount that, um, mount the battery systems, and then Adam takes over. That easy. Unbelievable, man. That easy. Wow. Don't even need to make the cooling systems. Adam's going to do that. Don't even need to make the spine actuation. Don't even need to make any more spine than what I've already sculpted. So just basic power systems, and then the main computer, and then the microcontrollers with all their interfacing, and the sensory touch systems, and all the servo motors all integrated. And then from there, Adam can take over. I won't build anything else from there. Wow. That's nothing, man. That's nothing. So, in fact, the electronics I'm a lot further through than I thought. Even without having started them, well, I kind of have, actually. But the electronics are such a short project now. Um, wow, the timeline also got shorter now, too. I'd say I'm 15% of the way through the electronics, because I've already designed everything, created a prototype custom servo like I want, selected everything. Man, I'd say I'm 20% through electronics. Designed the layout and stuff? I'd say I'm 25% through electronics. Created already my design for the power supply, selected the batteries, all the design work, all the research. I'd say I'm 30% through the electronics. Boom. 30% of the way through the electronics. Exterior appearance, why should I even put that down? I'm not even going to be in charge of that. Adam's doing all of that, so I need to take that one off. I'm not concerned with his exterior appearance at all. Adam's in charge of that. Okay. The scope of my involvement is so much less now. Adam's gonna do it all, man. This is incredible. And then the timeline just got way shorter too. Nah, I could still say 10 years. Well, years to build a robot. Now that just got way shorter. So we're 2.5 years in. I believe another 3 years. So we're looking at about 5 years for the entire build. And that's not including software. Yeah, the robot will absolutely be able to grab a cup of coffee. He'll be able to make a cup of coffee, brew it from scratch. The arm will be able to do anything a human arm can do. 100%. Holy cow. This is life-changing. Everything I want to do now, I can do from my computer. As soon as the robot's arm and torso is done, I can be like, man, I can pee in a bottle and have the robot drag himself over to me. I'll hand him the bottle, and he'll drag himself to the bathroom and pour out the bottle in the toilet. I can be so lazy. There won't be any servos in the hand at all. The hand will have sensors on the fingertips and palms, and it will have tendons leading to the fingers, just like a human hand. There are no muscles in a human hand. Well, there might be some muscles for the thumb, but almost the entire human hand is just tendons that lead out, and all the muscles that control the fingers and the hand are in the forearm. And it will be the same way for my robot. The robot will have the same number of muscles as the human body. So if there's a muscle in the human body, there will be a servo or two that represents that muscle. So however many muscles you have in your hand, that's how many muscles the robot will have in its hand. Every single muscle of the human anatomy will be represented by a servo. The robot's entire anatomical system will be an exact replica of the human anatomical system, except instead of um, muscles, it's going to be servos. Servos that pull string, and the string will be the tendons. The robot's not going to have a urine receptacle. Man, this idea that the robot's just going to be building himself, it's just magical, man. This stuff felt so far away before. Now it feels like it's just outside of reach. Like, it's right around the corner. I'm pumped. This is crazy. Because it's not even going to take that long. If I don't have to build the cooling systems and all that stuff, and Adam's going to build all that, it's not going to take that long for me to mount a computer and connect all it. That's like nothing. That's like a few years. Working on it very part-time, too. Not like full-time 3 years. We're talking 3 actual years just doing Robot Day once a week. This is unbelievable, man. My life just changed. My life just changed. I'm getting to experience things that I wasn't going to be experiencing for another 15 years in the next 5. That's a snap of a finger away. And Mailbox is going to be so happy because I'm going to be doing nothing but software and hardware, no more bone making. You guys are so bored of bone making. That's all going to be over with. Whenever you guys watch bone making now, it's going to be the robot making his own bones. I wonder how boring that will be. Yes, Adam will be. That's funny you bring that up because I was just thinking Adam's going to be a lot like Thing from Adam's Family. It's just a hand. Adam's going to be just like that, except he'll have a torso, an arm, and a hand. He will be a lot like Thing from Adam's Family, which is creepy, especially since it's going to be a black, creepy-looking arm. Now, I am going to still put the LEDs in the torso, just because Adam will look bad ASS with blue LEDs behind a black torso, dragging himself around the house. He'll look more like technologically advanced if he has the LEDs. So I'm still going to put those in. And they're going to be shining inward from the front of the ribcage toward the rear. And that will make everything look like, you know, a PC case or whatever for a gaming PC. And it technically is a PC case. It's a set of ribs with the motherboard inside it. Like, that is a PC case. The challenge, which I'm setting for myself, is stop as soon as possible, as soon as the technology you've created can take over from there. That's the goal. Yes, it'd be easier to build 2 arms, and then he can build all this stuff with 2 arms, and build a head first, and build legs first. Like, that'd be way easier. But then you're just delaying the inevitable, which is that once all this hardware and software starts working together, he could have built all that stuff himself, so why should I build it? Like, that's a waste of time. Because you're going to have to code all that level of sophistication into each arm anyways. And so why would you code that later after building more stuff yourself? Why waste that time? Now, you guys might be saying, like, oh, you're never going to get it to do anything that advanced anyways. But you're wrong. I will. And so if you suspend disbelief for a while and say, okay, supposing he could actually get the arm to be that coordinated and be able to do all that stuff, does it make any sense to do it yourself if the robot can do it? Absolutely not. That's just wasting time. Time that could have been spent developing that same technology you're going to have to spend anyways. It's like step 10 just became step 2. Enabling you to skip steps 2 through 9. Or, yeah. 2 through 9 just became step 1, then step 10. And then there is no more 2 through 9. 2 through 9 is done by the robot himself. That's what we've just done here. Talk about a shortcut. My goodness. Like, that's years and years and years of shortcut. Would you guys say the project seems harder now? or less hard. To me, I think it's less hard because I was already going to have to do all this programming, AI development, already going to have to give Adam all these capabilities. But now I don't have to build all this infrastructure. He's going to build it using his capabilities that we're going to come way later. Now they're going to come way sooner. Adam will be able to play the piano. He can drag himself up with his one arm onto a piano bench, and he can reach up and play, and his eyes, will be able to bend up and look at the keys, and he can play. If you have a hand, you can play the piano. He can type on my keyboard. He can use my mouse. He can use my computer. Not that he'd need to. He is a computer. Like, he'll be able to send emails and whatever. Yeah. He'll clear up all the stuff on that desk, and he'll work at that desk. Which is funny, right? So whenever I want to stream, you guys will see him working behind me. But most of the time, like, I only stream like 8 hours a day. He's going to stream 16 hours a day. My stream's going to become a 24-hour stream, 100%. I just have to make sure I install a failsafe so that if Adam stops working for whatever reason, like he needs repairs and he's going to wait till I wake up to inform me that he started on fire or whatever, I'll need to set up a failsafe where my stream will cut off. So if Adam's experiencing any troubles, he'll shut the stream off. Because if he keeps streaming and he stops doing stuff, it's going to look like a stream that's unattended, like an AFK stream. So he can only stream if he's going to be like active. To think, this whole time I thought building the arm was just like a side project, and that the main stuff was like the cooling systems and the legs and the other arm and the head. And now, as it turns out, building the arm was the whole project. Because with just that arm, Adam will be able to be a fully functioning slave bot that can do product manufacturing, make money, build other robots, everything, just using one arm. That's amazing. That blows my mind. And that he'll be able to finish building the rest of his body also, using just that one arm. That is just shocking. He's going to be lightweight. Just the arm and torso with no cooling systems? I anticipate he'll probably weigh about... That might be even more than... Yeah, he might only weigh like 35 pounds. It really makes you think, like, if one arm and a torso can do all of that, what's the point? What's the point of building a full humanoid? You could just build a bunch of arms and torsos using that arm and torso. Have just a bunch more weird things crawling around, dragging themselves, doing all kinds of work. That's just wild. Imagine, like, if he just builds like a whole bunch of other arms and torsos, and they're all just dragging around the house. That's weird, man. But no, that's not my end goal. Like, I would rather have him build his full body. I think his full body weight would be like 250. Because the legs will have to be super powerful. A lot of big motors in there. He's going to need a lot more batteries once he has a full body to power. And there's going to be just motors for everything. Lower back strength and abdominal strength and chest strength, all that stuff. Although he's going to have all his chest motors in, because you need a chest. He's going to need his traps. He's going to need his lats. Chest, traps, lats, delts. He's going to need some definite, like, torso motors to control this of the arm. And then he'll need, obviously, bicep and then all this stuff. So yeah, he's going to need some substantial motors. But I still think that's about a 3-year project. Because unlike building the bones, which is just this massive, tedious project, like, The motors are just going to be buy motors, strip them down, connect them all up, a lot of soldering, and sew them all on. Wrap them in the tape and the spandex and sew them into place. Connect all the electronics. Get it all working. No problem. This is gonna be one creepy robot, man. Just an arm. I don't think Squid would roast me anymore because I've clearly demonstrated that I actually am a genius and this project's super doable. And this is happening, guys. And I'm so close to being done now. I can't believe I don't even have to make the cooling systems. Adam's making everything.